Hey guys, today we are going to be moving on from distributive property and greatest common factor and talk about least common multiples. So this page is in your packet. It's towards the back. It's one of the last pages before the study guide, so please find it in your packet right now. Okay, so the least common multiple definition is here for you. So the least common multiple of two or more numbers is the least, which is the smallest number other than 0 that is a multiple of all of the numbers. So to refresh your memory, multiples are going to get larger. Multiples go on to infinity. So if I were to list the multiples of 12, they would be 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and so forth. They go on and on and on. It's like skip counting. If I were to ask you to find the least common multiple of 12 and 8, you can use the method where you just list all the multiples and then you find the smallest one they have in common. That's always a good method to fall back on if you don't remember how to do the cake or the trees. So I'll show you that right now. So I have the multiples of 12 listed, and now I want to find the least common multiple of 12 and 8. So you would list the multiples of 8. So 8, 16, 24, 32. So at this point, you should see the first one they have in common, and it would be 24. So the least common multiple, or LCM, is 24. Okay, so that is one method. Just like the factors, I'm not a big fan of that method because, one, you could be listing multiples for a very long time before you find one in common, or you could skip one, something like that, where I feel like you've done the cake or the trees enough that you should be confident with one of those compared to just listing all of the multiples. So I am going to go and show you both methods, the factor trees and the upside down cake. So if you have yours that you go with, you're more than welcome to fast forward to the one that you don't watch or that you don't use. You don't have to watch it. But I do want you to make sure you copy down the method you are choosing to use. So I'm going to do the cake first, just because that seems to be the most popular, which it should be because it's the easier one of the two, and it definitely helps in all types of situations. So I need to find the least common multiple of 12 and 8. So just like before, we're going to put 12 and 8 in our first layer of cake, and we're going to find the least common multiple of it. Same process, which is very, very nice. So my prime numbers that I'm going to divide out: 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. So start with 2. 12 and 8 are divisible by 2. So you put a 2 on the side. 12 divided by 2, 6. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 6 and 4 are divisible by 2, so I put a 2 on the outside. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 3 and 2 are prime, so I know that I'm done. I cannot go any further. So at this point, you should know that the numbers on the side would multiply to give you the greatest common factor. So to find the least common multiple, you actually want to do the numbers on the side and the bottom layer of your cake. So it's kind of like an L, and you want to multiply all of those numbers. So 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. So the least common multiple is 24. Okay, so very similar to the greatest common factor, same process, which is why I love this method, but you just literally have to multiply in the bottom layer of cake. Okay, so for my cake people, I'm going to show you one more example, and then I'm going to let you go. You hang on, tree people, the few of you that are still hanging on to those trees. So if I, at the bottom, wanted to find the least common multiple of 14 and 12, and yes, you should be writing this down if you're wondering that and not writing it down. Please make sure you go back and copy that example down because you're going to need to do this. So I'll give you a second to go do that. Okay. If you're not ready, pause the video now and keep going, and then you can hit play when you're ready. So I want to find the least common multiple of 14 and 12. So I'm going to put 14 and 12 in my first layer of cake. And same thing. 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13 are my numbers I can divide out. 14 and 12 are even, so I know they're divisible by 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So 7 is prime, and 7 and 6 do not have a common factor other than 1. So I'm actually done with my cake. This was an easy one. So I'm going to multiply the outside number and my bottom layer of cake, make an L. So 2 times 7 times 6. 2 times 7 is 14. 14 times 6 is 84. So the least common multiple is 84. Okay, so that is an instance where I feel like you would have been listing numbers for a very long time, listing multiples for a very long time. So that's where the cake was a much faster method to use. Okay. So if you are a cake person, you have your 2 examples, you are just moving on to find the least common multiple of all of the problems on the back. Okay, that's your only practice for today, and then you have your formative for your homework, and then you're good to go. If you are a tree person, you're hanging on in the video, and you are doing some examples with me now. So bye, cake people. Have a great day. Okay, tree people. So if I am finding the least common multiple using the trees, same thing you've been doing. So we're going to do 12 and 8 factor trees. 12, 2 and 6, 2 and 3. So 12 equals 2 times 2 times 3. 8 would be 2 and 4. 4 breaks down into 2 and 2. So 8 equals 2 times 2 times 2. So same thing like you would do for the greatest common factor. You want to circle what they have in common. So they have a pair of 2s, another pair of 2s, and nothing else. So at this point, you're going to multiply what they have in common, but also any number in our 2 lists that did not get circled get tacked on to the end of the list we're multiplying. So 3 and 2 did not get circled, so you just tack them on. 2 times 2 is 4. Oh no, I don't want that. And 4 times 3, 12. And 12 times 2, 24. So the least common multiple equals 24. Okay, so very, very similar to the greatest common factor. You circle what they have in common and then tack on any digit that did not get circled. Okay, so for the 14 and 12 for the trees, which if you didn't copy down that example, pause the video now and copy it down so you have it. Okay. So 14 would be 2 times 7, which those are both prime. 12, 2 and 6. 6 breaks down to 2 and 3. 14 equals 2 times 7. 12 equals 2 times 2 times 3. So circle what they have in common. They have a pair of 2s in common and nothing else. So literally everything that did not get circled that they have in common gets added to the list. So 7, 2, and 3 get added. 2 times 7, 14. 14 times 2, 28. 28 times 3, 84. Least common multiple is 84. Okay, so there are your 2 examples. Same thing, you're doing all of the practice problems on the back of the worksheet, and that's your practice for today, and check with the answer key when you're done. And other than your formative, you're done for the day. Okay, have a wonderful rest of your day. Please email me if